Mike, what's up?
Dude, I'm in Austin for it's been like 8 or 9 days in a row now, and it's the first time I've done that in 3 months.
Fuck.
And it feels so nice.
It feels good to be back, right?
Honestly, at first, I felt very restless and uncomfortable to be back in my apartment, and like seeing my roommate, it was like, oh yeah, I remember you. Like we're very good friends. It's like, oh shit, And then I probably shouldn't cuss immediately right off the bat. I think that's bad for the algo. But
bad for you too, but
yeah. I forget all of those rules. That's too hard to think about.
Yeah.
I just I don't know. But yeah, so I'm doing good.
Dude, we're in the same boat. We were gone for 6 weeks, and then we just got back last week, and really fucking hyped to be
Where all
back.
did you go? You went a lot of places.
We're supposed to actually leave today to go to Amsterdam. We're in San Francisco for 6 weeks, going to be back for a week, leave today, and then we just called off the trip on Friday.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're like, fuck it, let's just hold it down.
Okay.
It was like pretty exhausting being in California for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I also just built this crazy studio and have all this momentum between like our other studio, merch line, my business and stuff, and just really wanted to be here and like work.
Yeah.
In 6 weeks, wearing hoodies was fucking awesome. Like it brings me so much joy to wear hoodies, and it's already hot as fuck in here. But
dude, the heat in Texas it's so awful.
Yeah, it doesn't get easier either. Like this is my 7th year here.
Dude, this is my 31st.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've only spent 3 years away from this place, but like it's baffling how I get Facebook memories of times I posted the thermostat in my car being at like 114 and being like, God, this is terrible. And then it's 112 that day, and I'm like, it's still bad. Like, at least it's not getting worse, but it feels worse.
Yeah, for sure.
I was celebrating. I got some really great news. I'm going to be on a streaming service next year.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So
Can you talk about it?
I can't, but I can say that that's going to happen. So I'm really excited for it. And I went out with just some close friends to celebrate. And we went to Totes, the EDM bar downtown.
Nice.
And then my buddy hooked it up. And so we had a table and a bottle, and they did the lights, which is so funny to not tell other people it's going to happen, because I knew it was going to happen. And my buddy that's with me immediately sees the lights, and he's like, I'm going to kill myself. It's just like, it's so fun to watch comics.
Why do I think you're talking about Uncle Laser right now?
I wish. He would, no, Uncle Laser would thrive on that kind of attention. But it was very fun. But we were sitting there in this booth in this really nice table watching a very cool show, and all I could think was, it's fucking hot. I would pay $1 million to just not be sweating out of every pore of my body now.
That's why when you walked in, we were chilling on the other side, because usually this room's colder, but for some reason today it is not. And I was like, yo, I was outside before this playing with Athena on the swings, and I was like, fuck. But weird transition. What does the internet lie to us about the Austin comedy scene?
All of it. It's the internet's crazy because, and I'm sure you've seen this in your domains, but anytime that you have even, and I'm no means an expert, but I've definitely consumed and participated across the board. I've somehow been involved with comedy for probably 10,000 hours, but I'm not by any means an expert on it. But I know so much more than I did a year ago, and so much more then than I did 5 years before that. So even though I'm only this far into my journey, I'm 7.5 years or whatever, someone that is not in it at all and just watches has really no context for 90%. And they're filling in gaps that are incorrect. And so there's a lot of stuff that you see. Kill Tony is one thing that's very interesting, because it's the most popular show on the planet. It's fucking huge, and it's great, and it's made a bunch of careers, and I'm friends with a bunch of people on the show. Great show, but it's also 1 minute of stand-up and then an interview. And the interview process is really, a lot of it hinges on how incredible Tony and the guests are at making a situation hilarious, roasting them, pulling funny things out of them, finding what's interesting about them. And so then a lot of the stuff that you see is the real big stuff happening on there are sometimes things that don't work as well in traditional stand-up comedy. So there's a lot of the stuff where you see somebody that maybe has a really good minute or a really interesting story or something like that, and they explode, and you're like, oh, wow, that's the biggest comedian. And they're like, I've watched them do 10 minutes and have trouble with it. And I feel
like that's hard for you too, because like Tony knows you, you're respected. And so like when you go up, even when you have a good minute, like he doesn't have like off the cuff funny things. He's not really roasting you that hard. Like I think the last minute I saw that you did, like he was very complimentary towards you, which is great. That's what you want, but also it's not great for internet virality fame.
Yeah, you know, it was funny because I've had this happen a few times where I've had something that I thought was going to move at least just any needle, career-wise or ticket sales-wise or anything, and then to have that moment just like completely overshadowed by something so much more deserving. The last episode I was on, Ian Edwards and Sam Talent are the guests, and I'm friends with both of them, and I know both of them. So it's really cool to have people I know and admire and look up to as the comedian panel. And then, you know, I had just been on Roast Battle in that same room the night before and had a really great performance that Tony had judged. And so I had some rapport there where I had roasted Tony a little bit during the judging. So it was like, man, the 1-2 punch of crushing on Roast Battle and then getting on Kill Tony, I'm about to be famous. And then on the same episode I got pulled on, Annie Teicher got drawn, and it was What's the Blackest Thing About You with the whitest girl ever. And it's uber viral, 60 million views, and like all this stuff. It's like, why would you even watch the rest of the episode? You want to see some fat schlub be good at comedy? No. Yeah. We want to watch an innocent tiny white girl say crazy stuff.
I don't know. I kind of want to know about Street Ozempic though.
Yeah, I mean, and there's that side of it too, where like I had people reach out, and it has moved some needles, and it adds credibility in other places, but it you know, I could have just as easily bombed my face off on that, had a terrible interview, and gotten just about the amount of credit from it. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the thing where there's already, from just an average consumer standpoint, an ignorance to most of what stand-up comedy is, which is not their fault. I don't hold it against them, but like, people, like I've had multiple times where family members will be like, have you heard of this Nate Bargatze guy? And it's like, well, last year he made $190 million on tour. So I know you just heard of him, but he's like the biggest celebrity in stand-up. You know, him and Shane are, you know, neck and neck for who's number one in comedy. Yeah. And it's, so a lot of normal people are just finding out about them. And so a lot of the middle area and the gray area, it's very binary. It's either you're a stand-up comedian I've heard of, or you don't exist. And then there used to be a general pipeline, and there was a lot fewer channels. So people could watch Carson and the Tonight Show, and people getting on late night television doing their 5-minute set there. It was an abbreviated version of the set, but it was understood to be abbreviated and cleaned for TV. And it was made specifically for this thing, and you looked for it for that. And then the interview. That was another big part of it, where people became endearing and they built a personality. And then from there, well, it was like, well, now you've made it there. You made it to the couch on Carson. Now you get to go tour. Well, now that all has been completely separated, and the people that are getting late night are already out touring, selling tickets, amazing stand-up comedians, much like they were back then. But now there's a bazillion different routes to go. And it's, you know, so like the consensus, the people, I think, one, have a view of Austin. It's immature as a scene because it really got itself on the map in a big way with Joe Rogan and Tony moving here and the Kill Tony virality and the Mothership opening. But it also has an interesting place in the fans of like true comedy fans, like in the hearts of them, is that Cap City has been here forever, and at its old location was like well known as a beloved touring stopping point for all of the best comedians. And Ari Shaffir filmed a special there and paid for this incredible Netflix backdrop out of his budget for that special and left it there to Cap City as a gift because it was so, you know, beloved in his heart as this place. And like with that shutting down in 2020 and then moving and becoming part of the Helium family, which is great, just like business stuff changes and the heart of Austin comedy changes and what it is changes. So I think someone once described to me as Austin comedy as everyone they see on stage is in a race to say a slur. And that's not a bad description for a lot of what you see.
I've always described it as Slytherin.
Yeah.
Like we're Slytherin.
Yeah, we are Slytherin. And
not that I'm a part of the scene,
LA is Gryffindor, and New York is Ravenclaw. Yeah. And Chicago's Hufflepuff. For sure. But it's a decent house divide for those cities. But Austin has grown a lot, and we have a giant amount of comedy. But there is also one of the things that I think people don't notice is there might be too much. There's a lot of half-empty shows. And there's a lot of very amateur shows that are produced by someone who's been doing it less than a year in a venue that offered them a very low rate to do it, with pretty poor lineups, with someone doing essentially charity work as a set or a workout work. You know, it's like that's stuff that, like what happened to LA. LA has a giant geography. It's much, much, much larger than Austin, and it's 8x as populous. But we have more clubs. Something's not adding up. There's all of the industry of LA where there's a clear upward route to be a writer or an actor or an extra, at least something that pays money. But here you can do like a lot of $50 bar shows if you are very popular. So I think that there's kind of some people give it too much credit and some people give it not enough. But I think that Austin is a scene with a lot more nuance than people give it credit for, because there's a lot going on here and there's a lot of different levels to it.
I think if I like zoom out and look at just across the board of Austin, one of the things that's been hard for it to keep up with since the 2019-2020 onward boom is we just don't have the infrastructure for it. And so I think that the comic standpoint, it's like, yeah, there isn't this Hollywood or this other thing that allows writers and multiple careers, and like maybe you're not going to be like a stand-up, or you can like get all this stuff, even though there's always people doing skits who are getting millions of views. So there is this opportunity, but the infrastructure is not built yet. It's like there's a lot more traffic than there used to be. It's not LA traffic, but it's because like we have one highway, you know what I mean? Like we don't have the infrastructure for this.
Yeah.
When I first moved to Austin, because of the influx of people that had happened in 2018, which is before honestly the big boom, it was like after the 2013 boom.
Yeah.
It rained so much and there's so many more people that like they couldn't filter water fast enough, and so you couldn't drink the tap water for 10 days. Like
I remember.
Yeah, that was crazy, right? And it was like we haven't built the infrastructure for it. Like the rails aren't there necessarily.
Gary drank that water and got Giardia.
And died? Is that what was on your arm?
No, he's still alive. I lost a bet and had to get him tattooed.
Okay,
but
I thought it was like an homage.
no, he got no, he just got sick and like refused to boil his water because he's a lazy goofball. And then it was just like, dude, I can't stop shooting water. It's like, yeah. That's why they said boil it.
100%, bro. Dude, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but fuck it. But dude, so at the time I was making smoothies at a popular place in town, and like they just weren't abiding by it. They're like, our sink water gets hot enough. I would just see them like, this is fucked up. Like,
that's
this is
crazy.
So fucked up. I was like, Ryan knows because he works in the same place, but I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are insane. Like, we're just serving this to like, because like, in most people,
paying money.
Yeah, and most people who are getting it are like people who we see work there or like pay a lot of money to be there. And it was like, this is fucking nuts, dude. Like,
yeah, I'd be fine if we were like giving it to the homeless or something, but to people, customers,
not zombies, bro.
No, dude, our homeless is another part of it.
Yeah,
that I think kills the Austin comedy. From it becoming its full potential, is how dangerous 6th Street actually is.
For sure.
Like I don't let female friends walk to their cars alone downtown anywhere near the clubs, which is a problem. Yeah. Like my mom.
You like to walk them down a rainy street and say goodbye to the river?
Yeah, I just kick in the back. No, like my mom came to see me at a show at Creek with her friend, and they had gone to dinner somewhere on West before, and they're like, "Well, we'll just walk. It's all bright." And I was like, "No, like I give me 10 minutes, stay here at the bar, and then I'll walk you there, because you're not walking there alone." And like, even still, if I'm walking alone at 1:32 when things get let out, I'll get approached by people, and it's like, dude, that's too much. I'm a big person. I never used to get approached, but there's so much just drunken, crazy behavior. I think it's 184 bars in that 10 block area from Congress to the highway. So it's like they shut it down, and they want it for tourism, and it's great for all of that. But man, it's unsafe, and that's where Mothership,
like,
Sunset Creek, Black Rabbit,
and that's all the comedy spots. Like all the homeless are right there.
Yeah, and so you can get kind of away from that, and then go over to East Austin and Roscoe's. But no matter how amazing of a lineup or show it is at East Austin or Roscoe's, the one that people have heard of is Mothership. Yeah. The one with comics that people have heard of is Mothership, Sunset Creek. And then you have the other clubs that are the supporting clubs that are amazing places to perform that I love, but they just get bumped down a tier when there's an A++ one in town like that. Yeah. And further away. And so now they've got to work hard and build their own comedy community on the east side, which doesn't have as much draw to it. So now you've got like all of these clubs that are cannibalizing each other downtown to fight for who can get, you're fighting against the biggest names to ever do it in the history of comedy, performing at probably the best place ever built for comedy in the mothership. So you're competing with that anywhere else that you are. And then on top of that, like there's only so many people and there's only so many dollars. I mean, comedy tickets are expensive. Drinks, 2-drink minimums get expensive. You go for a date night, it's easy to rack up a $200 couples bill.
For sure.
Yeah.
Super easy. And to like, when you say like East Austin, there's not enough draw there. One thing I have noticed that happened after Tony started talking about Latchkey a lot, back when like Nether Hour was there a lot, like now on a fucking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like it's impossible to get into Latchkey. So I do think there's a way to like push the narrative out and like to leverage these large platforms that are focused on Austin to kind of expand outside the city. But it takes people going out, and the problem is that now Tony and Shane and like even kind of Matt at this level too, definitely like your mom's house people are like too famous to just go out. So they can't
in this small of a town.
They can't like breed it out. They can't talk about it because then it gets totally like cooked for them.
I mean, there's a bar that I love that I take some of the bigger names to when I get to open for them in town because it's a good bar, but it has like a higher price level for drinks and it's a little smaller. So it might get packed, but it's not going to be too bad. And I've taken all sorts of people there, and I was there in March with the Are You Garbage guys and Shane and some of the other Tires crew. And I mean, it was insane the number of people that like, I listened to two girls have a conversation that they, I can't give up too much of the information, but I listened to these two girls have a conversation where they didn't think they were in earshot of anybody. Like, hey, is that the comedian from the Super Bowl commercial? Oh, it totally is. Google his name.
Yeah. Let's go talk to him.
Yes. And then still call him Sean. Yeah. Are you Sean Gillis? Like, fuck, dude, how did you fuck all of that up? Like, it's that level of like.
Did he smash?
No, he's.
I know.
He has like a hot girlfriend, but I mean, any of the tertiary people, all the people around could have. It's. I mean, I've gotten laid on Uncle Laser runoff when I've opened for him. It's fucking wild, yeah.
I don't know about that, bro.
Dude,
tough runoff.
Girls that come to beg Uncle Laser, and then he's like, "Oh, baby girl, I'm not interested." I'm like, "Hey,
I wonder if JJ just moved in with Laser Ryan. I wonder if JJ's about to get some Uncle Laser runoff.
I hope so.
Yeah, he just moved in with Laser.
That would be awesome.
They walk out of the room. JJ's like, "Hey, what's up?" They're like, "Hey."
I can edit your OnlyFans.
Yeah. JJ's a producer here at the studio. That's why we're referencing it. That's why it's funny. Yeah, he rocks.
He rules.
Dude, so like one thing that's fucking crazy that you brought up is, do you like family, friends, whatever, like, do you know who Nate Bargatze is? Did $100 million in sales, and like Shane Gillis, but those two people are in such different worlds. So like Shane just hosted the ESPYs, and a lot of my family was at the ESPYs, and
awesome.
I'm seeing the Instagram stories of them at the ESPYs, and they're like all posting a ton because it's like big deal, women's sports. Like,
yes,
I didn't mean to be sarcastic about that. Just like they're like posting.
It's hard
it, right?
not to be,
and like just posting. They're all really excited. Like, and it's like tons of posts, multiple people, like probably like 10 different people I know. And not once would I even have known Shane Gillis was hosting the ESPYs. And then I just log on to Twitter, and it's just like, boom, Shane Gillis, blah, 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 blah. And it just makes me realize that, like, oh, shit, like, we are so siloed, which I think in a lot of ways is a good thing, because I've always thought one of the scariest things around media is when we just have, like, one prevailing thought. But also, there's, like, a scariness about it, because it's, how do we have a cohesive, like, United States identity, or even comedy identity, like something that holds us together in this era of we all believe fundamentally different realities.
Dude, it's very wild to see, because someone like Shane Gillis, he should be a household name. I mean, 2 seasons of Tires that were phenomenal, a Netflix special that was incredible, his YouTube special probably top 10 of all time level of special. Live from the Creek is amazing. And like, the dude has blown up his podcast. He's put all of his friends up. He is this generation's Adam Sandler in terms of what he's done for media creation and taking his friends with him. Huge name, and he's involved in college sports, and he's done a bunch of the college game day with Pat McAfee. He's done throwing out pitches for the Phillies. He's an outspoken Eagles fan, and then so for him to be at the ESPYs makes perfect sense. He's did a bunch of voiceover work for the new college football or Madden or whatever it is. So like he's in that world.
He's in a new Madden movie, isn't he?
Maybe.
I think he's in a new Madden movie. There's like a Madden movie. That he's
insane.
In it.
But so there's all of that. So there's all these reasons why people should know him, and then after the ESPYs performance, how many people? One problem is the dead internet. How many of those were bots that were just engagement troll farming? Because that's certainly part of it. But then how many of that was real people that I know that are in circles that are friend of a friend that would be too close to be an actual bot that didn't know who he was and didn't understand anything. They didn't attempt to see it as a comedic performance. They read the soundbite of Megan Rapinoe's not here. Oh, we're going to pretend like she's a good time. All right. Read that, see his fat white face, and then go, racist, fuck this guy. Yeah. Can't believe ESPN let him host the ESPYs.
Yeah. I actually have not messaged any of my family, like, how is Shane Gillis? Because I don't want that smoke.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, too, is that, like, a lot of what I have seen is what comes out as, can you believe he said this? This reporter said this, and it's a lot of the engagement trolling, just rage bait bullshit. But the comments have been almost overwhelmingly supportive,
for sure.
Besides the usual suspects. Mm-hmm. Blue-haired lesbians are never going to be happy, and that's okay.
The View was like, meh.
Correct, yeah. Yes. The people that didn't laugh at the irony of the WNBA players saying, pay us what you owe us.
Yeah.
Those people, of course, they're always going to be grumpy because they're the kind of people that think them getting subsidied out the ass to make their league a fucking thing is still not enough.
Except for Caitlin Clark.
She rules. She rules. She's fantastic, but even still, like, that's another thing. Like, Shane has talked on his podcast about meeting her. He said he's a fan, has publicly given her flowers many times. And then in the comedy world, especially in that format of comedy, a roast joke of that format is a respect move.
For sure.
That is saying, I know enough about you to use my talent to write about you. Mm-hmm. You are enough in the zeitgeist that I'm taking the thing I'm most known for and applying it to you. That's a huge compliment, and it's a very cool thing. And it's someone writing a song about, when a athlete gets their name dropped in a rap song, they're fucking stoked about it. Mm-hmm. But it's in a comedy thing, it's not the same, but it is the same intent. Yeah. So like I saw that and I was like, a fucking incredible joke. I mean, that's very funny. Both nailed a bunch of threes. I mean, amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah. And then to see a bunch of threes get mad at me, I was like, oh, who could have seen it coming? Yeah. But it's very interesting that, to that end, that we are so democratized in the way that we view whatever we view, and it's so easy to put yourself in an echo chamber that's large enough you don't realize it's a chamber. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can really find a large community of anything now, and that's scary. That's what's. It used to be, 15 years ago, if you wanted to be a Nazi online on 4chan, there was probably like fucking 1,000 of them. Yeah, yeah. But now they have like a whole chan or whatever.
Yeah. And 1,000 of them go to the Capitol on January 6th. Yeah, alone, like physically that committed. You know?
Like they're friends and shit. It's wild, and now there's like subgroups of. That's how big Nazis are. Is that there's different kinds. There's traditional Nazis and neo Nazis.
You're a bad Nazi. I'm a good Nazi.
and all this stuff in it, and it's crazy that we can have this many things. So it is. On my end, I hear so many comedians on podcasts talk about how the money's drying up and how it's running out soon and how that we're not going to be in this boom forever. And I'm like trying to get in on an elevator that's on its way down and it's already very full. And that can be depressing. But what it does give me hope, Kevin Kelly wrote an article in the Technium like fucking 15 years ago about 1,000 true fans.
More than 15 years ago now.
Yeah. I mean, it's forever ago.
I think it was in the 90s, bro.
Was it really?
Yeah.
But that article, just for inflation, I probably need 10,000 true fans
for
now.
Sure you do. Yeah.
But that ideal still holds true, and the ability to reach an individual and convert them into a true fan, as long as you are not a fringe topic, it's pretty easy. I talk about sex stuff and drugs in my comedy act, so some of that gets filtered and tampered down by different algorithms. But when I have roast battle stuff that manages to squeak the line of not having vulgarity, or I have food content or golf content, I'm building genuine, authentic fans that see me for the full picture and enjoy that. And so it's taken a while.
Yeah.
But it's still available.
Have you gone deep on Naval?
What is that?
Naval Ravikant?
No.
Oh, dude, I have a book for you. We might have a copy here.
Awesome.
But yeah, he basically, I feel like he's almost like a more modern. He got really popular in like 2016, 2017. One of my best friends wrote a book taking all of his ideas and synthesizing them, and it sold over 3 million copies.
God damn.
Like that's how, like, selling 3 million copies of a book is fucking wild.
Bonkers. Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts.
It's nuts. And like he's fucking awesome. But he takes that 1,000 true fans thing and kind of places it exactly how you just described it, which is like, you should only be competing against yourself, because you can find your audience by just being your true self. Think about like the 6-7 things that you love, showing them, and people can, like, there are 10,000 people that fuck with those 6-7 things like hella hard.
Yeah, I think that's the part that fucks with me the most, is that I believe that is a core belief of mine as just an artist, creator, whatever gay term you want to use for what I do. But every single piece of show business tells me that that's wrong, and that what I'm doing is wrong, and that I need to condense, and I need to simplify, and I need to have 5 to 6 seconds of really engaging, enticing, intriguing that's what I need to be focusing on, and that's all should matter, and that long form content really only matters for the first 3 seconds, and that makes me want to put a gun in my mouth more than anything else, because it's just like, dude, no.
I think, like, especially comedians like you are in a really hard position, because like your art form is on stage, but what you're being like forced to whore out on so you can be on stage is like keeping up to date with like every single thing that happens on Instagram and going on podcasts and all this other shit, so that you can get those little things to find that audience.
Do you know how mad I am that I know how to work CapCut?
Yeah.
Do you know how much fucking...
You sit there angry every day. It's like, meh.
Dude, I have to pay money to Dropbox. That's such fucking bullshit. I talk about my dick and doing drugs. Why am I paying Dropbox? Fuck.
Well, at least you didn't have to go to a Diddy party and fuck kids, though.
Man, I would go to a Diddy party and fuck adults. I sure would.
Okay, so this is a bad question, I think, but that's a stupid thing to say.
There's no bad questions.
That's even a dumber thing to say. I'm just doubling down now. I was driving. Mm-hmm. And Caroline,
that is a bad question.
Caroline,
That's a
suddenly
sentence.
I was driving.
That's a sentence. I've got a bad question. I was driving.
That's a statement. That's declarative.
That's not how questions work, man.
Did you watch Joaquin Phoenix on Theo Vaughn?
I saw a clip of that today and have it downloaded to watch on my next flight.
I did a few minutes of it, and it was like pretty funny. But my favorite moment in the beginning, Theo asks Joaquin, like, "How was your summer?" And Joaquin basically like, "I didn't do anything." And then Joaquin asks Theo, "How was your summer?" And then Theo goes, "That's a good question." And then Joaquin goes, "It was your question, bro." He was like, "I didn't come up with it. Like, you came up with it." I literally was in a parking lot, had that exact same reaction. I was like, "What just happened?" Like, what just fucking happened, dude? So like, but I was overhearing Caroline like blah 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 blahing about like there's something happened in the roast battle league where like somebody got fired or like it got acquired or like somebody lost presidency, like some sort of drama happened like 4 weeks ago.
Pat Barker stepped down as roast battle commissioner.
Okay.
And there's internal politics involved with that, but it was an amicable split. Nobody got fired or quit or anything like it. Pat quit, but wasn't like an angry divorce. And so now it's just Moses running the roast battle league. And
he wasn't doing that before. He was just kind of like semi the face of it.
So Moses is the founder of it. He created it.
It's not Jeff. Is not the founder.
No, Moses started roast battle, and Jeff is the roast master general. He was doing his own roast stuff, bumping mics. And Jeff started roast dynamics with the crowd, but the battles, as you know, with two comics writing jokes about each other and doing it in a rap battle style is Brian Moses' baby from the Belly Room in the Comedy Store.
Okay.
And it's been going forever, and Pat Barker's been a part of that since its inception and has been like he's been a battler, and then he's been the commissioner for the last, I don't know how long.
Like the operational lead.
Yeah, it's very funny when you get into roast battle stuff. The amount of actual roast battle lore, content, league, and stuff out there, it's as robust as the WNBA.
Yeah.
Which I'll tell you something funny in a minute. But so it's huge, and it's now the main roast battle league is 24 cities worldwide. Tokyo is part of it. London is part of it. Sydney is part of it. Toronto. I mean, we're all over. It's crazy. And then that got so huge that so many cities have been asking to be involved that this past year they created a secondary league, like a G League, which we call the WRBL.
Nice.
Which I am now the commissioner of.
Oh, hell
which
yeah,
is pretty
dude.
cool. So the WRBL is 8 cities that are all competing, and whoever finishes in first place in those 8 cities moves to the main league. Finishes last is relegated. So we've taken on like a soccer thing with that. But so through all of that, I mean, there's massive tournaments and huge things. I did a battle earlier this year in Cleveland against Chris Paw, and amazing battle, super fun guy. We were supposed to headline, and we moved up to 3rd because it all timed out that was the 3,000th ever roast battle. And that was really fucking cool. And the reason that we knew that is because Pat and his super diligent scorekeeping and ranking, every week Pat and Brian have done a podcast where they rank the top 8 battles in the world from those 24 cities. They watch them together on the podcast, give them their flowers. So that's where all of those rankings and points come from. And all of the cities are competing against each other in points for big tournaments. And that's where like the Netflix people got picked from. The Netflix's Joke Fest had a big roast battle on it. We did a world championship with people from all over the world. Scotland and London both flew in. And we're doing bunches of international stuff. They just did a big roast battle in Tokyo and another one in Sydney. So like it's exploding all over.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. So Pat was a big part of that, and him stepping down is definitely a bummer. But things happen.
So is Brian gonna fill that spot? Or is he
Brian's
hires?
already in there, and then he's doing all the things on his own. But
probably needs like an Athena EA.
Yeah, what he really needs is what he's doing really is democratizing a lot of it, because the roast battle is now more than just this org that's trickled down. It's big things in all these cities.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are running their own thing, and there just needs to be a couple of chains of command in there that reach to him and him to have some overreaching power.
Yeah.
But I think it's not far from him getting there.
Yeah. My dad's built like a bunch of sports leagues if he wants to have a combo with them.
Dude, I am absolutely sure he would, because he also
is like one of the founding people of like WNBA, so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He might like the WRBL then. But yeah, that is one thing too that's very cool, is that roast battle is one of the parts of comedy that is accidentally diverse and amazing, and pushes all of the people that left-wing media and woke people, all of the shit that they want is being accomplished in roast battle by people saying the meanest stuff to each other.
For sure.
You have never seen a fat woman wield more power and love and adoration. Like watching the battle, it's up on YouTube now. It's the All-Stars match, and I was battle number 4, and it sucked because I had to follow this battle. But Shelley Greenberg versus Paige Wesley, the two of them, any guy that has ever said women aren't funny will laugh at this battle. Anyway, it's fucking incredible. They are brilliant joke writers. They are vicious. It's wonderful. And it's so funny because it's the last thing that woke people want. It's accomplishing all of their goals, and it's so funny to watch.
Dude, the first roast battle I ever saw was in the Belly Room at the Comedy Store, and it was like the final battle, which I was dying. I was laughing my fucking ass off the entire time. Was like this dude who like maybe has like 3 fingers on one hand and like kind of some on the other, like obviously not functional, very handicapped.
Yes.
And then this guy with a mullet that was like 4 feet long, which would tell me his IQ is like a lot shorter than that.
Yeah.
Battling.
Yeah.
And then the guy with the mullet IQ who technically wasn't handicapped, his wife was in a wheelchair who was there.
That's Bear Bedell.
Yeah, they were destroying each other, and it was just dying laughing. And I mean, I also think that this about the mothership in a lot of ways. It's like I go there and I see so much more diversity than any corporate culture I ever worked in before. That was like top 100 companies of diversity in America, and like I see like one just night of the mothership, and it's like, you know, I'd never seen like an Iranian person before really that much, and like there's Iranian people all the time. I forget her name, but yeah.
It's really funny to see. There was a battle in April at the store that's also online somewhere. It's on the Roast Battle channel, but Chris Crespo versus Greg Roquet. Chris Crespo has what you described, like the dolphin hands.
That was probably him, I would guess.
It may have been. He's from New York, though, so I don't know.
He has like blondish hair, like reddish blondish hair.
Maybe. Does he have glasses?
He has glasses, yeah.
That very well could have been him.
Yeah.
And
this
Chris,
was a few years ago.
So very well could have been. Chris is a very talented roaster, very funny guy, but he's got little dolphin hands. Yeah. And then he was going against Greg Roquet, who has dolphin legs. He's in a wheelchair and got in like an accident from like a car accident or something. Yeah. So so
combined a full dolphin.
So but while we are starting the battle, we started chanting "cripple fight." Yeah. And it's unbelievable, and it's explosive. The cellar in liberal ass fucking woke New York is chanting "cripple fight," and I'm going to spoil part of this battle, but it was just so incredible. Is Chris says normally they'd say don't punch down on a handicapped person, but I literally can't.
Yeah.
Hey Greg, look what I can do, and then moved his feet a whole bunch. And me and Eric Asker, who he had just beat me, and we're at the back table talking about it. We both are just like, say, Greg, you better jack off. Greg, you better jack off. Yeah. And then Greg goes, hey, Chris, look what I can do. And the room erupts. I mean, it's packed to the gills. And it was 100% of the people in that room losing their fucking mind. And if you put that on paper, or even just me describing that, it sounds bad.
Yeah.
It sounds rough. And it couldn't be more empowering and incredible. And it wasn't a circus act where you're making fun of them. They wanted to pick Greg up out of his chair and carry them on their shoulders next to Chris. They loved those guys, and it was hilarious because they took the things you're not supposed to say and things you're not supposed to talk about, and then they wrote great fucking roast jokes about them. And it was just like, man, that rips.
Yeah. I think it was like Gervais or somebody on like a Flagrant episode who is like, yeah, these people who just like have never been around people of diversity, and they don't realize that like all people who are equal actually just like to make fun of each other all the time.
Yeah. And
like people don't get that.
Dude, before the battles, I had one of my favorite experiences, and you'll appreciate this because you love food. John's of Bleecker Street is one of the Pizza Rushmore places that everybody talks about. Portnoy went there like 10 years ago and gave it a 9.4. So I mean, and it stayed consistent and incredible that whole time. Every day of the week, there's a line to go into this place. So the battles are at 4. So I told all of the battlers in a group chat, like, hey, whoever wants to join, we're getting the best pizza ever made. Meet us here. It's a 5-minute walk from the cellar. I'm going to get there at 2 to wait in line, but we were going to be seated by 2:30. So like, be here if you're coming to eat. And a handful of the battlers came, and it was 2 guys that I knew from the roast battle crew. And then the rest of them were strangers that I'd never met before. And in that 10 to 15 minutes that it took for us to get to the front, we all said stuff that if you said to a stranger, normally you'd get slapped in the face. We all said those things to each other, all called each other names, all made jokes about how the other one was bad at comedy or something else, had so much fun, and were friends by the time we sat at that table. Yeah. And then we had this awesome place where we got to try this amazing pizza with new friends in a wonderful city in an iconic spot. Like, it was just... it was incredible, but I mean, like, it was a fairly diverse group of people who became friends like that over just roast stuff and being mean to each other and understanding that we didn't have any reason to look down on anyone else, so we just talked shit. Like, man, how much does that rule?
Yeah, so I moved from like a very liberal family in Northern California to Indiana for college, and at an all-male school, and like these guys were just like shitting on me constantly.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like too bothered by it, but I was kind of like, damn, dude, everybody's a fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
my friend Hampton pulled me aside. He's like, Sky, like,
Fuck, Hampton's an awesome name.
he was like, dude, yeah, well, Tyler is his first name, but
Oh,
Hampton's
okay,
his last
damn.
name. We had like 7 Tylers in our pledge class, so.
That also checks out. Yeah.
And Hampton, shout out to Hamp, he pulled me aside and he was like, dude, I only talk shit to people I like. Like, if I'm not talking shit to you, that's a sign. I was like, oh, really? This is how you bond with people?
Yeah.
I loved it. So then I started talking hella shit to everybody. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. And there's places for it, because I have seen that go wrong, too. And I think there's also the kinds of shit that you talk. Because that's one thing that I've seen pretty standard across the board that happens with comics is, especially if we do any kind of roasty stuff, is that people will come up to you and then say something. I'm a fat guy and my last name's Eaton.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way you're the first person to bring it up, you absolute dumb dickhead. Like, dude, I can't stop eating. Fuck yourself, dog.
Does your middle name actually have a B in it?
I wish.
Okay, because it's
so
just
bad.
Mike B. Eaton on Instagram because you be eating.
It's William, which is Mike Will Eat. Yeah, dude. It's was it nominal determinism, right?
Yeah. I know, I'm a god. Yao Ming is rising star.
Yeah.
You're Mike B. Eaton, bro.
Dude.
Let's go.
It's written, but there is like a depth to it. If someone that I barely know goes, "Oh, you fat piece of shit," it's like, well, that didn't take any effort. That sucks. But if you're one of my favorite things I ever heard, I worked for John McCain in high school, and it was like my profile picture on Facebook forever. And Michael Schertzer brought up when I had bleach blonde hair. He said Mike loved working for John McCain so much he transitioned into Meghan McCain. 10 out of 10. It's so fucking funny. And it's calling me fat and trans and all the things. Dude, it rips. It rips. It's such a funny thing. Instant bond. My appreciation for him as a person, a comic, everything just goes up tenfold from that. Yeah. But when someone comes up and delivers one of these shitty ones, and I think that's a context they probably don't have. Think about it for a second. Of course, someone has called me fat with my last name before. But also, so many people have called me fat so many different ways. It's just, it doesn't hurt my feelings. It's just boring.
Come up with something good.
Yeah, like I don't get. Yeah, I know I'm fat. Dog, do better.
Yeah, I feel like you've been slimming down though.
Yeah, the street Ozempic was a big part of that, but it does have side effects. I started having like the most insane sulfur burps.
Oh no!
It was room clearing. I remember when I quit in this moment. It was I was standing in the green room at sunset, and I went tiny, nothing, just blew it out into my hand into the corner, and like 2 seconds later, someone, what the fuck is that? And it cleared the green room, and it's like, yeah, we're quitting that. I have to be able to be around people.
Yeah. Plus, the Antichrist is becoming more popular now, and like in the Vogue, and so. You don't want to be that guy.
Oh yeah, I can't be
burping sulfur.
Yeah, it does. It smells just like death. So it's
Peter Thiel won't fuck you anymore for sure.
God, I need him too. I need Daddy Teal.
You need that BD, bro.
Yes, dude, take me from 0 to 1 now.
1 billion.
Yes, that's all I need. He could be a VC in comedy.
That would be sick.
It's never happened.
Yeah.
I think because it would ruin comedians.
Yeah.
If you give people that need the struggle to make it, to have an appreciation for making it and have any career longevity, a head start in any way, they will just die of drugs.
Yeah.
We all have drinking and drug problems in some stage or form, whether it's active or former. It's all of us. So it's like, if you give them a lump sum. Ugh.
Have you seen Crashing?
Is that the Pete Holmes one?
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of it.
Okay. What did you think about it?
I remember liking it. I think some of those, I get like a weird FOMO thing on some of it when there's people I know that like guest star and shit in it. And then also
Brian Simpson's in it at one point.
Brian Simpson's the man.
Yeah.
He deserves everything. That dude fucking rules. He's extremely funny, and he's so much like every like cool military guy that I've met. It's so funny how people are just all of the archetypes that they are.
Yeah.
It's like there's really like 25 people out there.
Yeah.
And then like if you just you find the ones that you like and you just gather those, you know?
Sorry, super racist of me.
Do it.
The Brian that does roast battle.
Moses.
Brian Moses is in it. Is Brian Simpson in it as well? Was I not totally wrong on that?
I was just complimenting Brian's.
Brian Moses is in it. My bad, Brian Simpson.
I watch like the same several shows over and over, just like comfort shows. I very rarely branch into a new thing. And if I do watch a new thing and I don't finish it, that means it lost me at some point, and then it pretty much gets archived in my brain. Like, that happened with Barry, that happened with Crashing, that happened with I'm Dying Up Here, Marvelous Miss Maisel. So all of them at some point, it just, like, Silicon Valley, all things that I really, really enjoyed at one point, and then something.
TJ Miller's in a few of those.
Dude, TJ Miller's the fucking man. He's so fucking funny. Silicon Valley, when he leaves the show, is when it fell off for me. I just finished rewatching that, and that it happened again. It's the exact same thing that happened when I watched it the first time. I was like, this is an incredible show. Holy, because I started a software company in my 20s. It was like a software as a service, SaaS, it was a very custom niche CRM, and getting into the world of making, selling, and all of that with software stuff. I had just a little bit more insight into some of that stuff, and it was so accurately done. And then all of the trade shows and shit that I've been to, they nailed all of that. And then all of the Silicon Valley people being that way, just the Bay people. It was like, fuck, it's such a good show. Yeah. And then Erlich Bachman leaves the show, and you're like, fuck, this is just stressful now. It doesn't have the comedic relief. Now it's just a...
Yeah, and it had Jin Yang still, which, like, Jimmy Chow is so awesome.
Dude, he rules.
Have you seen his new show?
I have not.
What was it called again, Ryan? We both watched it. You watched with your daughter. Eating, like, takeout in Chinatown, or, like, escaping Chinatown. It's, like, surreal as fuck, cool as fuck. It was on Hulu. Absolutely well done. Hopefully we'll remember what it is. Dude, I hung out with this guy that, like, Joe Begley knows. I'm sure you know him as well. We just, like, talked for like 3 hours one night, and he opens for Jimmy Yang sometimes.
Brent Gill.
Brent Gill. That guy rocks, dude.
Yeah, Brent's the fucking man.
And he moved here from Colorado, I think.
So he was in Denver for a very long time, and then he was in LA, and now he's here.
Yeah.
He's actually one of the people I've become closest to in the last years, because we do whole hecklers together, where we go and heckle golfers during their backswing.
Oh, you do that? Oh, sick. I've heard great things about that show.
Dude, it rips so hard. It's so much fun, and it's like it's the perfect like thing for my soul in terms of this, because most of comedy is just personally enriching, and like having a really good set feels very good. Being able to, so I run Roast Battle Dallas up there, so I book those shows, and I get to promote those battlers for stuff, and I get to submit them to the WRBL, and then I have to have someone else rank them, and all of that stuff. But there is a almost parental good feeling in when I can help a younger comic do something cool in that format, or I can book them on something really cool. They're doing an all-star battle of the WRBL at the Mothership in October, and I got to take a 19-year-old kid that's crushing it there and put him onto that, and then with that feeling is very good. But Whole Hecklers opens up this whole new thing where I'm roasting these people, which feels good to get the laugh, and I'm raising money for a charity at the same time. And so I get to bring out some of that competitive stuff in that just was good for me in the business world. It just feels good to be personally competitive. And I get to do the muscle of working on the spot roasts. I don't know anything about these people until I get there at 7 a.m. And then I can get some dirt maybe from the tournament organizers, or from getting other people to donate and then give me dirt on their friends that are in the tournament. But a lot of it is worked really hard on being able to read someone in the 2 minutes it takes for them to get from their golf cart, listening to the spiel, to teeing up, and then delivering jokes there. So that it's like really easy to get into a flow state multiple times a day in that place, and it's all going to a good place. Like that's the part that like makes it. If I crush at a roast battle, that feels very good, and I love that feeling, and that's very nice. But it's just for me. Yeah. But when I get to crush and it helps someone, like this event I just did in Canton, Georgia, was to raise money for the Cherokee County Special Olympics, to send this little girl with Down syndrome and then a young neurotypical boy to the Unified Games next year in Minneapolis. So they play 6-on-6 basketball with 3 special athletes and 3 neurotypical partners. And so it's like each one has a buddy and they're playing basketball against each other and have like a big cultural thing around it. And they get to go from this pretty rural spot an hour and a half outside of Atlanta to go and do this and have like a really amazing once in a lifetime trip. And $7,000 of that came from me calling guys fat and infertile and bald and like, you know, there's it's just such a cool feeling to get to do that.
For sure, dude. And I think that's fucking awesome that you do that. And like one of the like first things my father instilled in me is that like the cool thing about attention, it was like about capitalism, but about attention is like you can leverage attention to change the world. And you can do it in like a micro way or a macro way, but like attention's such a powerful fucking thing. Like I do believe attention is like the new oil in some ways. We need oil to energize our attention, literally, so we can like spread it globally. But it is so crazy how you can just take something entertaining and then, you know, siphon off a bit of it or a large chunk of it, and it can fundamentally shift people's realities.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the Mr. Beast model.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
And to Mr. Beast too, it's like people still have the audacity to shit on you for it, which is even funnier.
Yeah. That does rule so hard when you see like a guy wins $600,000 for being in a grocery store for 30 days and someone's like, what a sadist, who would make someone suffer like that?
Yeah. Or like when he cured 1,000 people of blindness, then it's like, that's so like, what's it called when you're not pro handicap? So ableist.
Yeah.
It was like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? Those 1,000 people can see now, bro.
I had a very interesting, eye-opening thing in that world because I dated a girl who works in the deaf community. And while we were together, I got to go to a bunch of these deaf community events. And I was always worried because I've called deaf people here-tarded before, which is fun to say. Yeah. But it's a little rude. They don't like it. But I don't know the signs, so they're missing out. But, you know, like she taught me some sign language, and it was really interesting to learn in that world. But one of the things that I found was most interesting, and there's a movie that is really, really enlightening on this subject, The Sound of Metal, is that deaf people who get cochlear implants are looked down upon by the deaf community. So if you're like a deaf person and you're born to a rich enough family that they put the thing in your ear where you can hear again, that they're like, well, oh, fuck you. You don't want to
bailed, bro.
Yeah.
You left the ghetto.
It's this very weird gatekeepy type of thing where it's like, if you want to have the most inclusion directed towards you, then you should exhibit it towards others. But like this movie really explores it from the psychological and community aspect, and it's got a complexity to it that it's very interesting to see. Because I think I still, if I was in the shoes, because my hearing is starting to go bad because I love really loud music and I hate earplugs. So it's gonna be something that comes up. I hope we get cool robot installations later, but it is one of those things where it's very curious to just explore mentally what you would do if you went deaf. Would you learn sign language? Would you forego sound? Or would you want a cochlear implant? Or would you explore the option? I
feel like the deaf community needs a bunch of Ben Afflecks to be like, if you fucking still can't hear, get the fuck out of my house, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
that's like... Well, dude, like it's like empowering to be like, hey, you're still human, you're still valuable. Like that's 100% true, but also, like hearing is useful. Like that's an additive thing.
Yeah, one of the things that I found, this is just like a brain dump of this info, but this I want to talk about it on stage, but it just bums people out. I want to say it's 94% of parents of deaf children do not learn sign language.
Whoa.
Like that's a fucking insane number. Even if you want to say, and that's like a crazy sensationalist version, we could go down to 50%, and that would still be gut-wrenching to me.
Yeah.
To say that half of the parents of a deaf kid don't even bother learning how to be able to speak to their kid.
Yeah.
And combining that with one of the things I remember learning early on in like a sociology class was if you don't develop language by a certain age, that you basically lose that ability going forward. And all of the feral child studies where these kids were out and survived and made it to 7 or 8, and then they tried to reintroduce them to society, and they have grunts and they talk like a dog basically.
Yeah.
was very fascinating to me that your brain can close up like that. And like, yeah, I learned some Spanish as a kid, but my neuroplasticity is dog shit now. And every time I get on Duolingo, I last 6 weeks and I can still just ask for weed and pussy.
Yeah.
So it's like language learning is interesting. So you take a kid whose parents didn't learn the language and then they don't have the ability to hear and learn the language. And it's like we're progressively making the problem worse because now being deaf is a 6% chance that you're going to even be cognitively functional.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, that's an insane number.
Yeah, it's tragic, man.
Yeah, and I don't even know what we do about it.
I mean, it's hard, too, because I bet there's a huge correlation because the OECD did a study they released in 2018, and it's gotten way worse since COVID, but it was over 50% of people over the age of 18 have less than 8th grade reading levels. So, like, those parents, even if they wanted to learn sign language, like, do they even have the capacity to do it? So that 50% number sounds super reasonable to me. Like if they had the time to learn a new language, and then do they actually have the mental capacity if they can barely read their own language that they've been around their whole life?
And what kind of support do you give them to enable that?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen firsthand. I ran a Cutco office out of Garland, Texas, which is a North Dallas suburb. It's a lower to middle income area. And I had a kid who came through training. He had graduated from high school, which was the thing we required to hire people. You had to show me that you'd graduated from high school at the very least. And he'd graduated from high school. And in the role-playing exercise, he could not read. And it was just literally, he just could not read. And I asked, and I was like, maybe I can get someone, maybe he's dyslexic. Maybe there's just a learning disability here, because functionally, I could talk to him. He was fine. He was great to talk to. I was excited for him to sell knives, but he couldn't fucking read.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, you're 18 years old. It's insane. And so like that, I mean, that trickle down effect of...
And he was white.
He wasn't. But but it really is that trickle down effect. That's where I get into the arguments with my more right-wing friends about the existence of systemic racism, because I've seen it. I've seen what redlining does to a community because I grew up in North Texas, like the fucking gerrymandering capital. They're so good at it.
Yeah, they're doing an aggressive one right now, I guess. Because Abbott's doing like another one to try and get like 13 more.
Someone called him Sittler the other day.
We need credit for that. That's awesome.
I would love to know where I heard it. It earwormed into my brain, and I lost my mind.
Yeah.
Because I've heard so many people call him Hot Wheels, and that's almost boring at this point.
Yeah.
But Sittler is great. Incredible.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, no, I never understand the argument against that, like systemic racism. And for me, it's just because... Like, I was a stoner for a long time. You still are.
Yeah.
Your quality of stonership is unmatched, which I would love to talk about your last 420 because I only got the text. I want to know what happened. But before we get to that, it's just that I have the text from you, so I can tell you what you did. But like, it was just like we just arrested an entire generation of fucking black males. So we created like a single parent household. Then basically through doing that, like funded Planned Parenthood, because then we aborted like a fuck ton of black children. And it's just like, this is so insane for doing something that I've done my entire life and could do in front of a cop most of my life. And like, I grew up on a private property, so I wasn't sitting on a fucking front porch. So like, they couldn't fucking catch me. And like, my mom grew weed for me. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was so crazy how different it was for me growing up than if like anybody else. And that just to me seems so unfair, because we put so, like, from the 1990 crime bill, we put so many people in prison. We created these single parent households. And then now people love to throw around statistics about how, African Americans are 80% more likely to leave their children. Like, white males are like 60%, and then African Americans are like 80%. Like, the numbers are
like,
fucking whack.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But it's like we actually systematically, structurally built this thing to happen. It's fucking fried, bro.
Dude, my firsthand experience when I was 14, I had gotten into selling some pot, and I had taken a front from a guy, and I owed some money, and I had weed to pay off a debt, so I had to bring this money, and I was 14 and arrogant, and I had smuggled this weed in from Jamaica on a cruise with my family, and it was all exotic. It was dog shit weed in retrospect, but at the time, because it was fancy, I thought I had something special. So I brought it in this watch box to school to give to a guy, and I thought I was like fucking Ocean's 11 with this shit. We had the same JanSport backpack. We bumped into each other, switched backpacks, went about our way. I'm bragging to everyone about what I did. So, of course, we get pulled into the office. I get pulled into the office first, and they search me down to my fucking underwear, which I still think was pretty sus to have a 14-year-old in his underwear in your office, Mr. Putty. They search me and they find nothing, and then they watch the security cameras, and they see me and him bump into each other. So we both are arrested. However, my arrest was I walked out of the school just next to the cop. He put handcuffs on me in the front so that I would be comfortable, and then I sat in the front seat of the cop car, went to the police station where they undid the handcuffs and had me wait upstairs in the office with my buddy. So we were just sitting there talking on rolly chairs. I remember spinning in a rolly chair, looking on my phone, texting my friends at school, like, I got snatched, don't worry, I ain't gonna snitch. And like all of them be like, why are you talking like this? Like all of that happened, and then so I get charged with Class B misdemeanor possession of marijuana under 2 ounces. But I get put into a deferred adjudication program with a program called Lena Pope Home. It was a 7-week course that my parents had to take me to 2 hours a week. And at the end of that course, I had to pass 1 drug test. And because of that, when I went to college 5 years later at Hampton-Sydney, a private school, they paid.
You went to Hampton-Sydney?
I did.
You went to an all-male college?
I did.
Bro, we're like
Let's
one
go.
of the rarest people in the entire world. I went to Wabash. That's like, there's
that's
only
insane.
us
Yeah.
two. Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
nuts.
And then Morehouse that shares a fucking campus with women, so
Yeah.
they don't count.
They don't get the cred.
Yeah.
I only lasted a year.
That's
but,
crazy. No way. I didn't know that.
But when I went to Hampton-Sydney, my first semester of textbooks was paid for by Lena Pope Home.
Because you're
In the way
remediated.
that they gave me a check for like $1,300. So
my God.
me getting arrested as a 14-year-old white kid ended
Yeah.
up paying for my freshman year textbooks.
Yeah.
Which also, to be honest with you, I also asked my dad for money for those textbooks and my mom for money for those textbooks. So those textbooks got paid for 3 times.
And you bought a lot of weed.
A lot of weed. Yeah. A lot of weed, a lot of booze, a lot of acid, a lot of mushrooms, a lot of cocaine. It was,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was that's why I only lasted a year in college.
Yeah.
all that textbook money.
You got exactly what you said earlier. If we just gave all the comedians too much money, like they'd all be dead.
Yeah,
if we VC'd comedians.
Dude, it was but like that experience for me, like it never really, I didn't have the benefit of hindsight or any kind of clarity on that. To me, it was I'd gotten lucky, and that's just what happens. My dad, from the time I was about 6 to when I was about 23 or 24, was not wealthy but pretty rich, 7 to 8 figure net worth. That's peaked and then declined. But so living in this area called Westlake, I lived in a multi-million-dollar 13,000 square foot mansion with a basketball court and a pool and a pond and a gazebo and all that, and a movie theater and a poker room. And my dad drove a Bentley and I drove a $70,000 pickup truck. Like, I just assumed that that's what people like us had access to for the legal system. So I thought it was a classism thing and not just a racism thing. But the more you learn is that, like, a lot of that is all tied together. Mm-hmm. Like, the reason that a lot of the things that my dad was able to do to rebuild his wealth stems from generational wealth that my family was able to build because they were white landowners. Mm-hmm. And they were able to buy land when land was cheap, when it was not cheap for everybody. Mm-hmm. And there was restrictions on who could buy it. And that's what redlining is like that problem. And so that, like, you start to realize, like, one of the reasons that I am so diehard at comedy, and people call it ambition and dedication or whatever, and I don't see it that way, is that I feel that it's owed. I am so lucky to have been born who I am and to have been afforded the opportunity to go and fail and have a safety net in my early 20s, and to be able to fuck around and be an idiot and learn about who I am. I did the broke part. Like, after my dad lost his money, I was out on my own. I lived in an extended stay motel that I paid for with a title loan on a car that I bought. Like, all of that, like, I've lived that side of it, but I've also, had everything paid for with my dad's credit card. And so, like, now I'm in a place where I do work for my mom's company that helps support comedy financially, but that's been less and less the more that I have been able to make money in comedy. But, like, there's absolutely zero chance that I'm still doing stand-up comedy if I don't have my mom and dad for emotional and financial support for my entire life.
Yeah.
So like it would be insane for me to quit. Like what a douchebag I would be to give up on that. I've had one of the easier, it hasn't been easy, but one of the easier routes to success in comedy. Like you listen to all of the best people and they've all had to make some kind of sacrifices at some point along the way. And like that's, I think, the thing that's so gross about like the Nepo babies is the ones that suck are the ones that don't acknowledge it and don't say like, hey, like I had a chance that was afforded to me. But like most of the people that I've met that have been in those circumstances are extremely open about it. Like, hey, I got a big leg up and then I used it. And so now I use that to help people. And like that's to me is the move. It's like if I can do that in comedy, then I can, you know, pay some of that spiritual debt back. You know?
Yeah, dude, without a doubt. And I very similar like childhood in like a lot of ways. And I think the privilege that I always feel like I have is that because I was awarded meeting a lot of very successful people and being in the rooms and seeing like very famous people, it was always something that I knew I could achieve, which is something I think is so undervalued. If your only reality is fucking your dad is gone, your mom like works 2 jobs, or is a drug addict, failure. Exactly. You have no perception of the like perspective that everything is fucking possible, that is achievable. You know what I mean? And
when you're around people that are all successful, you assume that to be your future.
Yes, 100%.
It's that I'm so grateful that it was my formative years where my dad was successful, because being around everyone else, it was like, whatever we do, we're all going to be the best at it, because of course we will. You know, like. I say I sold a software company to a former Goldman Sachs exec in my early 20s. People were like, wow, that's incredible. And it's a fun sentence to say. Yeah. But realistically, what happened there is the business that my mom is in had a business need. I'd been around rich business people solving problems. I went online and figured out, okay, you need to make a CRM. And then I found out about Salesforce. Salesforce wouldn't do it. It couldn't process these numbers. And then a guy that I was friends with in high school from my AP classes was a brilliant coder and had created a bunch of stuff in the Bitcoin world and in the textbook space. And so I reached out to him. He wrote an MVP in Python or Ruby. And then I started learning Ruby on my own, and I get all into that world. But like all of that time that everything's happening was super easy to be like invested in learning and everything, because I wasn't worrying about rent and I wasn't worrying about food. Like, when I didn't have enough rent at the end of the month, I could go, hey, Dad. And then I would go to a Western Union or a PLS check cashier's, and I'd pick up a grip of cash and go back to my apartment in the hood where I was cosplaying poverty, and go and spend my time actually learning and growing that stuff. And that, like, it never occurred to me that this was all just a function of privilege. At the time, I was an arrogant 20-something. I was like, I'm brilliant. Yeah. Look at me. I'm making a dent in the universe. Yeah. I'm like, like, you're helping people sell hats. Chill, you know? But it's...
I don't think it's like necessarily... It's not something I even feel like should be apologized for, but I think it's important to recognize. And that's where like all the things I've tried to do around like volunteering has just been around like Big Brothers Big Sisters or something where I can like expose people to things, because I really do think for me,
you like to work with kids so you can expose people to things.
I love that's exposing
a terrifying
kids.
Sentence to put together, brother.
Love exposing children. All right, well, we're going to the private feed now, so if you want to hear about me exposing kids and Mike's favorite food in Austin and other shit, go to skmp.supercast.com.